Glenn Greenwald, also known by his name Glenn Dipshit, Stupid Fuckface, Ally to the Right, Shadow of his Former Self, Greenwald. That's his legal name. A little mean. I don't know why his parents burdened him with that, but that's always been his name. It only really came to, prescience now. All right, Glenn, what brilliant, mind-boggling shit are you about to throw our way? Hit me with it.
And I, would describe a lot of people on the right as being socialists. I would consider Steve Bannon to be a socialist. I would consider the 2016 iteration of Donald Trump, the candidate, to be a socialist based on what he was saying. I consider Tucker Carlson to be a socialist. Now if you have Governor Cuomo who wants to give, tens of millions of dollars to Amazon to bring an office to New York, you have AOC, an actual self-identified socialist, standing up and saying, this is outrageous. And then you have Tucker Carlson going on his Fox News program and saying, I agree with her completely, because I think people are realizing that neoliberalism doesn't work. And I think the real right-left difference, to the extent that those terms even have any currency or coherence, I think you see in France too, like Marine Le Pen, the fascist far-right candidate, when she ran both times, she ran to the left of Macron for sure, but even the French socialists in terms
of... So Glenn Greenwald is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, so I am going to factor the intelligence he should possess into my response. Glenn Greenwald is a subhumanly stupid piece of shit who should be excluded from any and all political discussion from this point forward for the rest of his life. He is completely and entirely burned through any ounce of good faith that he built up during his advocacy for privacy back a decade ago. He is a worthless piece of shit. He has absolutely no right commenting on these issues. Now, why? Why, you ask? Because none of the fucking people he's describing are socialists. 2016 Trump is a socialist? What the fuck does he think socialism means? This is inexcusable. This man won a Pulitzer Prize. This isn't Paul Joseph Watson. This isn't Ben Shapiro. This isn't Steven Crowder. This isn't just some random conservative failed comedian who ended up grifting their way into international prominence by posting memes about how trans people are bad, okay? This person had a reputation. This person meant something to people, and he has burned it all away on what? Socialism is an economic system which requires two fundamental components, okay? Democratic control of the means of production and decommodification. That's it. Now, there are some variants. You can adopt one a little more than another. There can be some wiggle room, of course. No system of government is absolute in its prescription, but that is basically what socialism is. Now, if you are a low IQ individual, or perhaps just not very educated on the subject, you might believe that socialism is when the government does stuff. That's the official position of Dengists on Twitter. That's the official position of the feds. That's the official position of conservatives, that socialism is when the government does stuff. But Glenn Greenwald, so spectacular in his stupidity, so ostentatious in his unwillingness to understand these issues, he doesn't even adhere to that definition. His definition of socialism is literally when you don't like liberalism. Well, Glenn, you know who else didn't like liberalism? They also called themselves socialists, more so than Trump ever did, actually. They were the Nazis. This is not some fallacious appeal to Godwin's law. This is not some empty-headed rhetoric. If Glenn Greenwald was alive in Germany in 1929, he would claim that the Nazi Party was the Socialist Party of the working class. That is the immediate and direct extrapolation that one must make from his statements here. When you are taking people like Donald fucking Trump, an open and avowed anti-socialist, an anti-unionist, a person whose political engagement began and ended with empty-headed populism so vacant that a child should be able to see through it, and you call that socialism, you have nothing going on up there. Tucker Carlson, a corporatist, a billionaire simp who has never for one day in his life since he turned 18 gotten the taste of boot leather out of his mouth. Tucker Carlson, who it is openly known supports establishment candidates because he doesn't believe in radical change. Tucker Carlson, who has admitted that he is a simp for billionaires, is a socialist because he hates liberals. A lot of people hate liberals. Glenn Greenwald, many people hate liberals. Steve Bannon, literal Nazi-adjacent propagandist, by the way, who targeted internet boards full of sexless young men and tried to drive them to the far right. Socialism, apparently. Now, if I were being very charitable, I could claim that Glenn Greenwald, with his marvelous brain, has simply invented a new definition for the word populist. That Steve Bannon is a populist, which he is. That Tucker Carlson is a populist, which he pretends to be. That that Donald Trump was a populist, which he pretended to be back in 2016. But I can't be that charitable to Glenn. Because you know what he said in this video? Very stupidly said. He said that Tucker Carlson's selective agreement with AOC was evidence to the idea that he was a socialist. Which means that he is not defining socialism exclusively off of populist anti-liberal rhetoric. He is actually tying it to people who actually do claim to be socialists. AOC does not claim to be a socialist or whatever because she doesn't like liberals. He said Marie Le Pen ran to the left. What? Because she was anti-globalism? Glenn Greenwald really does want to be the person at the back of the gas chamber line. He's gay. I mean, the people that he's championing up here would absolutely love to see him turned into ash. He is leading us all to the fucking gates. I don't think you people realize how dangerous... there goes side chat. I don't think you people realize how dangerous Glenn Greenwald and people like him are. This is the Nazbol vortex right here. These morons, these troglodytes who are obsessed, absolutely obsessed with propping up right-wing figures as some sort of working-class heroes, that anti-liberalism is really the only political standard that you need to adhere to. That's really, there's liberals and then there's not liberals. No. There are liberals, there are leftists, and there are fascists. Fascists who would see him dead, would see me dead. I don't know if he cares. I don't even know if he knows he's lying. I don't even know how conscious he is. It's actually unbelievable to me how lost he seems to be here, if he is lost. And that's charitable, by the way, because it could very well be the case, very, very well be the case, that he is very deliberately leaning into this, that this is the culmination of a years-long process on his part to direct his audience of empty-headed morons towards essentially being fascists. I don't know. Has he developed a brain tumor? Is there something wrong in his mind? Some psychological ailment that has recently arisen in his brain that is affecting his cognitive processes? Does he know where he is in this clip? Does he need help? Does he need aid? Does he need care? Or was he always a hack? Was his Pulitzer Prize a fluke and he was always a hack? I genuinely do not know. But I wanted to be made very, very clear that of all of the people online, of all the people who I argue with, of all the people I despise, there is nobody, absolutely nobody, who I fear more than people like Glenn Greenwald, because they take leftists and they push them to the right. They destroy their understanding of what socialism and workers' advocacy actually means. Socialism, a word which is associated with workers' rights, gets degraded, corrupted, and polluted until it's nothing more than a synonym for empty-headed populism, devoid of any actual policy considerations. You take this and you grind it down until it means nothing, and then you sell them on the real socialists, okay? No, not people like Bernie Sanders, who have spent their literal entire lives advocating for the working class. No. It's people like Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump. It's people like Steve Bannon. And they get you on that. And more people who could have been good leftists, good comrades, end up getting pushed farther and farther down to the right, because empty-headed, narcissistic, grifting fuckboys like Glenn Greenwald, who should not even be listed here as the co-founder of The Intercept after dropping that organization because they decided to hold him to journalistic standards, could ever do. Worthless piece of shit. And you know what? I would love to talk to him, too. That worthless fuck. Glenn Greenwald. I'm much smaller than you, for now. You will only get smaller with time. You are old and stupid. I'm young and smart. I would love to talk with you. I'll be civil if we talk, you know? I'll keep pushing for this, too. I'll be civil. If we talk, I'll be very nice. I won't call you anything mean to your face to begin with. And we can discuss these issues. I am desperately curious. I am desperately curious about your definitions for socialism. I'm curious about why you think Steve Bannon and Tucker Carlson are socialists. I would love to learn more about this. Do you know the definition of liberalism? If I asked you, a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, former journalist, would you be able to tell me? Or is your head just... You never know till you'll find out, right? Huh? Yeah, that's what they say. Fuck around and find out. I want to fuck around with you, Glenn. Not in that gay way. Not because I have a problem with gay people. Unlike the people you prop up, Steve Bannon and Tucker Carlson, they would want you dead for being a degenerate. They have a problem with you being gay. Not me, though. Just a figure of speech.